So really what I want you to walk away with this product, it allows you to create a catalog of enterprise applications that are really simply defined. And then the point is, in one click, you can deploy it and will automatically create the virtual machines, install the software inside the virtual machines, and then connect the networks between all of them. Now we're tying this moving forward also into a lot of performance monitoring tools, so that again, it can look at how this multi-tier application is behaving, and it can help you do interesting things. So my favorite demonstration of all time is where this heads. And it's around monitoring a complex application and then taking actions when the performance gets too low. And again, I don't want to go into too much detail, but to give you a flavor, if you notice that the database is getting too slow, we'll give it more reservation shares, or we'll use storage I/O control to give it more bandwidth so that it can go faster. If you notice that the web server is going slower, we can automatically clone virtual machines, and we have a built-in load manager that will pull them in and make them all work together. So where this goes, and this is not ready yet, but where it heads over time is you deploy an application, and then the management can be automatically handled over time. So it's a very exciting new space for us. Now I was promised that I shouldn't admit that I'm an Inter fan. I hear that's bad for Massimo, but I'm actually a Lazio fan, so that's okay. But what I also want to share is just a little bit about what's happening in platform as a service. And I want to be really quick about this. But I do guarantee that 3 years from now, people will be talking about this as a new way to write applications. So we call this the incomplete platform as a service, incomplete PaaS. Does that translate as a joke? Is that good? But what you're going to hear a lot is a lot of different ways of doing platform as a service. And these are things, if you hear of folks like Heroku or Force.com or Microsoft Azure, these are all flavors of platform as a service. But I think they have a lot of challenges for where we want the world to head. But I'll share what we're doing in VMware. So we've launched something called Cloud Foundry. And maybe quickly, has anyone heard of Cloud Foundry yet? Okay, good. So a fair number of people. Today, I think today is its 1-year birthday, or maybe it's in the next week or so. So we launched it relatively recently, but it already has well over 60,000 developers that are working on it, and quite a number of people that are developing and deploying applications. And it's important to think of it as two things. The first is it is an open source project that anyone can download and build. It is also a service that VMware is currently running that's free, cloudfoundry.com, where you can log in and create applications. The point of platform as a service is that people don't need to know all of the details about what application server is running, what version of Ruby is there. All the specifics take a lot of time. So if you can simplify it, you let developers just focus on writing the application and not all of the details. So it is about developer productivity. That's the focus for platform as a service. Now what we really want to focus on though is what we're calling open platform as a service. And open means three things. The first is that there are a lot of languages coming up right now. A lot of college students have never heard about the Win32 API or have never written a Linux system call in their life. They're learning to write in things like Spring or Ruby on Rails or hundreds of new languages, Node.js. All of these are coming together. And we want to make it so that you can choose what language you write in without having an entire IT infrastructure behind it. Sorry, I should call that out. We even have .NET support now, which everyone couldn't believe that when we did that. The second part of an important platform as a service, though, is increasingly you write applications that leverage a lot of other services, mostly databases, message buses. They might automatically tweet when you do something. They might log into social networks. So we want to make it so that you write an application and you can very easily absorb other services. And then the number one most important part about what we're doing is trying to make it so that when you write an application, you're not locking yourself into running in one single place. So today, if you write an Azure application, the only place you will ever run an Azure application is in the Microsoft data center. If you write a Force.com application, you'll only ever run it in a Salesforce.com data center. So we thought it was very important to create an open framework that would run anywhere. So on day one, we actually showed Cloud Foundry running on Amazon EC2. And we've also worked deals so that it runs on Rackspace. I think some people have it running on Azure also right now. So this is something very important. You don't want how you write an application to dictate where it runs. Very important part of it. Now the other important thing that we thought was fun is that you actually would like to have developers be able to use their laptops also and be productive in that environment. So we also have a version of this called a microcloud, which is downloading the entire stack to a single virtual machine. And it allows you to write an application on your laptop, disconnected, and then when you run in a big scale environment, you can upload it and it will run exactly. So I won't go into any more details now, but think of this as a very important compatibility layer. As people write new applications, we are attempting to make this the universal way that they write it, the modern operating system, if you will, that can run anywhere. And so a very important part about this is that we are doing this completely as an open source project with a lot of contributors outside of VMware. It is certainly the case that this will run a lot of places there is no VMware software, and that's very good. We want that to happen. A lot of people look at me when I'm crazy when I say that, but that is a big, big focus of this, is making sure it runs great everywhere else. So you'll hear more about Cloud Foundry as its birthday comes up and as we announce some new partnerships on that. So now let's spend the last section really on end user computing and how things are playing out here. And this is one of the more interesting spaces, I think, because all of us live this on a daily basis. So let me do a quick look at how things look today for most companies. And this probably looks for your personal life and in many cases your business life as well. So I think we all know that the easy old days, all of us had a Windows desktop machine, and it was literally on a desktop. And mostly we used Windows applications. What I didn't fully appreciate until recently, though, is that it also was the place where policies from IT took hold. This is where you authenticated yourself. This is where you had your files running on a local drive or on a network drive. And it really became the place where IT could ensure that the right things are happening. But then we've had two real challenges for IT come about. The first has been the arrival of other applications, applications that are not Windows applications. This is software as a service, whether it be for mail or Salesforce.com or other applications. But it's also increasingly these mobile applications we're using for accessing our work environment. And it's also around data, which we'll talk about Octopus in just a moment. So we have all of these different things that are coming together that make the old world of a Windows desktop not the only way that you can manage things. And then, of course, I always look in these crowds how many gadgets there are. But obviously, we have the Windows laptops, but increasingly we have, of course, the tablets and the phones that are coming into the environment. So we started about 3 years ago believing this is how things would play out. And I have to say it's gone even quicker than I thought it would. But really, we're trying to provide a solution that allows you to use all of your applications and all of your devices, but still have IT have a chance of being safe as they do so. So that is the focus for Horizon. And we've announced a couple of products in this space, and I guarantee you'll hear a large number of other applications in this space soon, that are around giving IT, think of it as a giant switchboard in the sky that connects a user with all of their applications and their data from wherever they happen to be. That is the mission of this project. Now, that's where the future is, and there are some early products for it. But the key thing we're trying to do is get you from where you are today to this model. And so that's where we have a lot of the products that you've heard us announce so far. The first and foremost is really just thinking about how do I move application management and application stores into a central place. Has anyone here seen Horizon App Manager? Okay. So a lot of changes are happening very quickly here. The first version of this product was simply an enterprise application store, an app store, that allowed you to choose software as a service applications, but have single sign-on to all of them. So it would talk to your company's Active Directory, and it would use those credentials to allow you to automatically log into different applications. We've recently added things like ThinApp into this environment. So you could not only go out to a website, but you could actually download and run a ThinApp directly from there. And you can certainly imagine what happens from here, where you could get access to your view sessions, and you can get access to data in other areas. So we'll be making formal announcements around that as we head forward. But think about this ultimately, as an employee, this is the site that I go to get whatever application I want to run. And as IT, this is the place where we begin to put authentication and other controls so that I can have a safe environment. Now, a couple of things that exist today in fitting this are, how do we begin to bring these together? So maybe a quick show of hands, how many of you are using VMware View? Okay, so a lot more here. So it obviously starts with us trying to help people modernize their Windows deployment. And as you know, we compete a lot with Citrix on this space, with different approaches to doing it. But we're really happy with View 5, and it's really been the thing that has changed, I think, the perception and the reality of VMware in the space.